with Sarah?
Sarah just offered me the role, which isn't something that happens very often to me, so I immediately, excitedly read it, and happened, luckily, to love the script. Immediately was drawn to it, for a variety of different reasons, but, yeah, and then Sarah and I had lunch, and she told me her story, which is riveting, and yeah, I signed on.
That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. I got an email from Sarah saying that she hoped she wasn't scaring me and that she was a stalker, and then contacted my manager, and I saw that Ashley was attached, and I was like, this is cool. I saw that Frances Conroy was attached. I was like, this is cool, and then I read it, and I love that it wasn't making fun of the Bachelor type show, and then it was really getting into the psychological, aspects of the show, and I thought that the women were really truthful characters and fully realized people, and I got excited about playing Jessica. So yeah. There was a lot of little things about her backstory that were referenced in the film that I really had to build on. Like in the first rehearsals, we would sit around the table and talk about like why Jessica was there, what's her family life like. She doesn't want to go back home. She comes from a place where she's, the breadwinner of her family, and she equates success with like getting married and getting a job, and she can take care of her mother who is sick at home, and just proving, to herself that she can be, this perfect woman, this perfect wife. And there's a lot of, that in me, too, as a person that I can identify with. And, yeah, so just really creating a fully realized backstory really helped me create a fully realized character, and I hope that it paid off.
The darkness? Oh, happily. Yeah, honestly, that was really what drew me to the character was... it was very different from most of the characters that I play, who are pretty apple pie, vanilla, safe for TV kind of characters. And this character, I think, it was so interesting to watch the compulsive nature of somebody trapped in a job that she hates, doing something that she doesn't believe in, and yet she doesn't stop doing it. Continuing to partake in something that she truly doesn't believe in, and not ceasing was fascinating for me. And it was really fun to play.
There's a great reference. You had a great reference for this character.
What?
The writer and the director of this film was the character.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that wasn't my question.
Oh, I thought you meant like what actresses are similar to this. Yeah, but no, I was embodying our director, so it was very cool on set to have her as a resource and to be able to pick her brain about what that life was like for her. And fortunately, before we started shooting as well, I ended up being able to spend a lot of time with her and just ask her about the psychology of being at that job. So that was really helpful.
What? Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What was your impression of like the behind the scenes of reality shows before, and how did that change after you finished the film for both of you?
I watched a little reality television in my life, not gonna lie. I was unaware of the fact that these contestants, which they're contestants on a competition show, had people talking with them and developing a relationship with them, and being in their rooms alone and asking them questions and learning about them and learning about their hot buttons and things that make them want to cry and things that make them angry. I had no idea that there was someone who was so close to them, who was in fact manipulating them.
Yeah, Sarah said like these two characters have become really good friends over the course of the shooting of the show.
I trusted her,
I think for me, the thing that was most surprising was that my character Rebecca lies to Jessica and says he's going to choose you. I'm sorry. And like says, you know, you're the one. He's about to choose you. And Sarah said they had this whole conversation about where they were going to go on their honeymoon and what they were going to do, and you know, so the moment that just makes the moment when she gets rejected that much more potent.
Right.
And the sliminess of that was striking to me.
It's like you're really messing with someone's life.
Yeah.
And someone's future.
And you're lying.
And you're lying to them, and to like. How do you go to sleep at night?
In order to get a reaction on TV.
In order to get a reaction on TV and to get money and to be known as the closer. You know what I mean? How much do you have to sell your soul to get that? Is it worth it? I think that the movie poses that question very, very well.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, so I actually, like, legally I can't be super specific about what the inspiration was, but it's like big, you know, inspired by a moment in my life. I did work in reality TV, so there's obviously those parts of my life informed it a lot. Yeah. I think it was a really poignant moment that kind of like folded in that, and within the layers of all of that sort of encapsulated all of the struggles that I had during that time, and a lot of the sort of scars that I've left with and the things I still struggle with based on that experience.
So about how long did you do that? I mean, can you reference it?
I have to be like, I can't be super specific.
Understood.
And it also, I think, you know, it was more than a specific incident that I built off of. It was like all of these themes and ideas and feelings that I deal with in all of my work. It just became the perfect place to explore them. Because I think reality TV it's such a big part of our sort of vernacular, and everybody has a reference for it. So that was what was so amazing about making that short, was that we only had to put in one shot and everybody knew where we were. You know what I mean? Like, it was like that one setup and I didn't even have to explain it. And then for me, the idea of sort of women destroying other women, and also what the objective gaze of the camera does to our views of ourselves and each other, all that stuff is super important to me. So it was just a good place to explore it.
How much can you get away with on a reality show?
As far as like people's own privacy?
Yeah.
They kind of sign away all their rights.
Really?
Yeah, they really do. They really do. Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, like, on network shows, it's safeguarded because the networks have their own standards and practices, so that you wouldn't be able to air, you know, stuff that's like really sexual or explicit, but that stuff can be captured. And that's what I'm really fascinated by, is the sort of like Ant Farm, Lord of the Flies behind the scenes of those shows. And like Burning Love is here, you know, and that's like a big spoofy version of this kind of thing, but it's really about the show and in front of the camera, and my stuff is all really psychological and an examination of the people that live and work behind the camera. And so in regards to privacy, one thing that's interesting is that even though some footage might not make it on air, this ant farm behind the scenes has access to it. So like the editors will see it. And so as far as the privacy between the contestants and the people making the show, there's no privacy.
So if something gets leaked, they can't do anything. They can't like sue.
Well, you know, yeah, that's a good question. It doesn't really happen, I think, because, you know, like, honestly, I was terrified to make this film. I still am sort of terrified because the contracts are really binding, and everyone's super very, very scared to breach those contracts. So I've never heard of a leak of the kind of stuff I'm thinking about, you know. I don't know. Yeah, well, the funny thing for me is that actually it was important to me that it definitely wasn't a spoof, for sure. It's not a spoof. And I didn't want to lambaste them. I didn't want to make sort of the me character, the character that's sort of me. I didn't want to make me the hero and them the demon. I wanted to do something relatable that was like for anybody who's ever had a job, you know, if you have to put a roof over your head, your line of what you'll do to keep your job sort of moves throughout your 20s. That was my experience of it, was that, you know, when you first get out of college, you're like, I would never do that, blah, blah. And then, you know, you go through a couple months of not being able to pay your rent, and all of a sudden your line just moves a little and a little and a little and a little. And so for me, the funny thing is, like, you know, finding out the price of your soul isn't like millions of dollars. It's actually just like a paycheck that comes in some ways. So yeah, so it's not a spoof, and it is trying to stay grounded in this reality of sort of what it is to lose your youthful ideals. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why Ashley? I mean, what made you decide to take Ashley, who's always been such, as she says, such an apple pie character, and bring her into that role where she's having to explore that?
She's such an incredible actor. That was why I took her, because and I'm so flattered that she took the role. That was like just this amazing, I couldn't believe she took the part, and I felt so lucky to have her. And it's 20 pages of wall-to-wall dialogue. So in the wrong hands, it would have really been unwatchable, I think. Actually, I mean, I've seen my dialogue performed by non-actors, and it doesn't hold up. So I needed really incredible actors, and I had seen Anna on True Blood, and I was blown away by her as well. And so the combination of those two people, I just feel like I couldn't have been luckier.
And then now also you have Frances
Conroy, who's incredible. That blew my mind. I couldn't believe I got her too. So yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that, about how you managed to get her on your project and working with her and such.
Yeah. Well, so I'm a huge fan of hers from 6 Feet Under, and I just approached her, and it was after Ashley and Anna had signed on, and also because it was through the AFI directing workshop for women. There was a little bit of a stamp of approval on it. Like, it was legitimized in a way, which I think now, because filmmaking is so easy, everybody has a 5D and Final Cut, super easy to make films. Yeah. Like, those curatorial bodies become really important because they sort of legitimize the project. So I think the fact that Anna and Ashley were signed on, and then she just loved the script. She loved the project, and she came and did it. What was amazing is one of my I guess she was my colleague at AFI, because there's just 8 women in that program. They pick 8 women for the program. She actually used to work for the Sundance Institute, and so she was our sort of inside festival person. And she told us, she said, "You guys, I have seen so many short films in my life. They're all too long." She said, "No matter what you do, make it under 10 minutes. Do not make a film over 10 minutes." She said this to us over and over again. She was like, "I am not kidding you. Do not make a film over 10 minutes. It's unprogrammable." But then I said, "Shaz, I don't know what to do. It's my film's 20 minutes." And she said, "Well, let me see it." And she saw it. She said, "Don't change anything." So she just said it's one of those that they're going to find a place for it or they won't. But she said it's a lot harder to program, the long ones.
I think that's one of the things we're talking about. Is one of the films we brought in was one that was 13 minutes, and he said he thinks that's what's kept it out of so many festivals. And so, just the quality of it, such as it seems like you needed that for that examination of that relationship between these 2 women.
Well, I know for me, watching it on the big screen today, it was sort of, because I've seen it maybe 700 times, I was really worried that it was dragging, because I was just because I've seen it so many times, but what I've been hearing is that it still is engaging, and I'm really, really glad to hear that.